In part 2, we looked at the sheer scale of the $9 billion heist. But as federal investigators began finding their focus on the specific nonprofits and shell companies involved in that fraud, something highly convenient for the criminals started happening. Suddenly, the streets of the Twin Cities exploded. We're told these are organic, grassroots protests against federal overreach. But if you look into the blind spot of these demonstrations, a pattern emerges. Every time federal agents get close to a key figure in the financial fraud investigation, a riot just happens to break out nearby. Today, in part 3, we are asking the hard question, are these protests a cry for justice, or are they an engineered diversion designed to burn the evidence while the world is looking at the fire? Welcome to the Blind Spot. I'm Lydia. This isn't your grandfather's protest. We are seeing a level of coordination in Minneapolis that is unprecedented. There are rapid response teams using encrypted apps to track federal license plates in real time. We've seen databases called MN ICE plates, where agitators log every federal vehicle. This is a sophisticated military-style surveillance operation being used against law enforcement. When federal agents attempt to enter a business to seize records relating to the $9 billion fraud, they aren't just met by a lawyer, they're met by a mob. We have seen federal agents physically blocked from leaving scenes, their vehicles pelted with objects, and investigators harassed at gas stations. From a conservative perspective, this isn't activism. This is obstruction of justice. It's an intentional effort to keep the federal government in a blind spot so they can't see where the money went. Now let's talk about who is on these streets. While many locals are surely caught up in the emotion, there is significant evidence of professional agitators being bussed in. We've seen reports of boxes of supplies, masks, water, and even protest kits appearing on sidewalks just minutes before a confrontation starts. Even more concerning are the reports linking the funding of these protest groups to the same dark money networks that have been accused of fueling far-flung extremism across the globe. Some investigators are even looking into whether the very money stolen from the $9 billion social service fraud is being used to pay for the riots that protect the fraudsters. Imagine that. Your tax dollars are stolen and then used to hire a mob to keep the police from catching the thief. That is the definition of a blind spot that we must expose by finding our focus on the funding. The goal of this chaos is resource drain. When 3,000 federal agents are deployed to Minnesota, the criminals want those agents tied up in crowd control. If an agent is busy dodging a frozen water bottle or managing a riot at a federal building, that agent isn't sitting in a room looking at bank statements. This is a classic tactical diversion. By creating a high-profile civil rights conflict, the agitators force the media to focus on the mean federal agents rather than the missing billions. They want to shift the narrative from theft to invasion. As citizens, we have to refuse to be distracted. We have to keep finding our focus on the fact that the rule of law is being traded for the rule of the mob. But this isn't just a game of cat and mouse. This engineered chaos has a lethal human cost. When you encourage people to stand in front of federal vehicles and impede high-stakes operations, someone is going to get hurt. In part 4, we're going to look at the tragic deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. We're going to discuss the reality of what happens when you put yourself in the line of fire for a cause that might just be a cover-up. And we'll debunk the hoaxes being used to keep the public in the blind spot. Thank you for watching Part 3 of the Minnesota Sovereignty Crisis. If you missed Part 1 or 2, I'll put a link in the description for you to catch up. Subscribe or follow to be notified when Part 4 is published. And remember, keep searching to find your focus. See you in Part 4.